niece
Jamie
has
Atkins.
the niece got the other lady too, Logston.
2017 CRB 02154, charged by the state of Ohio, City of Elyria.
That's a different. That's Stroud.
Endangering children. 2017 CRA
I'm
02155.
talking about
State
Logston.
of Ohio, City of Elyria, endangering
This
children.
isn't Logston. Okay. All right. Good morning, Ms. Atkins. You're charged with endangering children. This is a felony 3, carries up to 5 years in the penitentiary and a $10,000 fine. You're also charged with endangering children, 3 counts, misdemeanor 1. Each of those carry a possible fine of $1,000 and or 6 months in jail. Because one of these charges is a felony, we can't resolve your case here. The purpose of the hearing this morning is to make sure you understand the charges, make sure you understand the potential penalties, and to make sure you understand your rights. To understand the charges and what the penalties could be.
I need more understanding of my felonies.
All right, there's only one felony count.
Okay.
And it basically says the complaint, and that's all I have before me is the complaint, but the complaint says that there was a mentally or physically handicapped child under the age of 21 years of age, which resulted in creating a substantial risk to his health, safety, by violating a duty of care, protection, or support, and the child is listed as a minor male, initials IH. So it has to do with somebody either physically or mentally handicapped. Mr. Prosecutor?
I haven't seen the complaint, but generally if there's serious physical harm and the one child had to be life-flighted to Rainbows, that's generally what makes it a felony 3.
All right, well, I just read from the complaint.
I was just clarifying from what I have from the report.
All right, so that's where the felony comes in. All right, do you have any other questions?
What's the misdemeanor?
The misdemeanors endangering children, it lists 3 separate children, minors, initials BH, FM, and TM. And it's basically violating a duty of care, protection, or support for those 3 minor children.
Which I didn't mean to do.
All right. As to your rights, you have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint one for you. You have the right to have reasonable bond set. You have the right not to make any comments or statements about this case whatsoever. Everything we do here is recorded, so anything you say today could be used against you by the prosecutor in a later proceeding. You have the right to a trial by jury, and because one of your charges is a felony, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. The purpose of the preliminary hearing is not to determine guilt or innocence, but rather to determine 2 things. 1, is there probable cause to believe that a felony has been committed? And 2, is there probable cause to believe that you may have committed that felony? If there's a finding of probable cause, your case will be referred to Lorain County Grand Jury for possible further action. Do you understand everything I've said so far?
So nothing's going to happen to me. I'm just going to go to another court.
Well, no, you're going to have a hearing here. You're going to, you've asked for an attorney, and based on what I see here, you're going to be granted an attorney.
Yes,
You're going to get,
I have no income at the moment.
right. You're going to get the date of a preliminary hearing. You'll come back with your lawyer at that time,
Okay.
and the prosecutor and whichever judge, it could be me or it could be Judge Lockgraves, gets the case will be involved in determining whether there's probable cause or not. If there's a finding of probable cause, then the case will be sent to the grand jury, which is across the street in the County Justice Center. Okay?
Your Honor, can I mention something? I have never...
I'm going to have you stop just for a second.
Okay.
I don't want you to say anything about the facts or your position, because those folks sitting at that table are the prosecutor's office. And they would be duty bound. If you say something that helps their case, they're going to bring it back up later, and they've got a tape recording of anything that you say here today.
Okay, I understand.
Okay? So anything, I know there's a desire to want to talk. Anything you want to say right now, save it till you talk to the lawyer.
Gotcha.
Okay? Mr. Prosecutor, there was a personal bond was set in this case from the outset.
If they were given a personal bond and they've shown voluntarily, but I would just ask for standard no contact. The children aren't their children, so there's no reason for them to have contact with them at this point.
All right. I'm going to give you a personal bond. That means you're going to sign a paper promising to come every time something's scheduled in this court. If you don't come, that bond would get thrown out, warrants would be issued, and you would be arrested. All right. That bond is conditioned. You have no contact with those 4 minor children that I gave you the initials for. So you can't call them, you can't write them, you can't text them, you can't email them, you can't go visit them, you can't babysit them. If you go someplace and any of those kids are there, you have to leave. If any of them would contact you, you can't respond to a contact. If you respond to a contact from them, that would be a violation the same as if you'd initiated the contact yourself. Is there any question in your mind what I mean when I say no contact?
No.
All right. Do you have any questions for me?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
Okay. If you have a seat outside, they're going to bring all that paperwork to you, the name and phone number for your lawyer. If you've not talked to the lawyer prior to the prior to the preliminary hearing, he or she will be here and available to you at that time.
Okay, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Just have a seat in the hallway.
Brian Pecam, 2017 CRA 02157, City of Elyria, endangering children, 2017 CRB 02159, Sheriff of the State of Ohio, City of Elyria, 4 counts of endangering children.
Thanks for coming. Good morning, Mr. DeCamp.
Good morning.
You're charged with endangering children. This is a felony 3. Felony 3 carries up to 5 years in the penitentiary and a $10,000 fine. There are 4 counts of endangering children. Misdemeanor 1, they carry possible fines of $1,000 and or 6 months in jail. Do you understand the charges?
Yes.
All right. As to your rights, you have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint one for you. You have the right to have a reasonable bond set. You have the right not to make any comments or statements about this case whatsoever. Everything we do here is recorded, so anything you say today could be used against you by the prosecutor in a later proceeding. You have the right to a trial by a jury, and because one of your charges is a felony, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. The purpose of the preliminary hearing is not to determine guilt or innocence, but rather to determine 2 things. 1, is there probable cause to believe that a felony has been committed? And 2, is there probable cause to believe that you may have committed that felony? If there's a finding of probable cause, your case will be referred to Lorraine County Grand Jury for possible further action. Do you understand everything I just said?
Yes.
All right. And you are asking the court for a lawyer, is that right?
Yes.
All right. All right. And your source of income is SSI?
Yes.
I'll grant your request for a court-appointed lawyer. You get the name of that person before you leave here today. Mr. Prosecutor, I'm assuming based on the companion case we just heard, your position regarding bond is the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'll set personal bonds on these cases. The bonds, however, are conditioned that you have no contact with minor children, a male IH, another male TM, another male BH, a female FM, and a male JD. This is, Mr. Prosecutor, this is a different.
That's my son.
All right. There's a John Deacom,
Yes.
which is not included in the original.
Now that there is a John Deacon Jr. 15-year-old. Well, then I would have.
I'm not going to have no contact on this child.
If there's children's service involved, I would just ask that he follows children's services
All right.
guidelines.
All right. I won't include your son on the no contact order, but Children's Services, my understanding, is involved, and you'll just follow whatever recommendations they're making.
Okay.
All right. But as to the other 4 kids, You can't have any contact. You can't call them, write them, text them. You can't go visit them. If you go someplace and either of those kids are there, you have to leave. If you go someplace, even though you may have arrived first and any of those 4 children show up, you still have to leave. If they attempt to contact you, if they write you or call you or text you, you can't write them back, call them back, text them back. If you respond to a contact from them, that would be a violation the same as if you had initiated the contact yourself. Any question in your mind what I mean when I say no contact with those 4? You know which 4 I'm talking about. All right. All right, if you have a seat in the hallway, they're going to bring your papers to you. You can sign them. You're going to get the date for your preliminary hearing. You're excuse me, going to get the name of your lawyer. If you've not talked to the lawyer before the preliminary hearing, he or she will be here and available to you at that time.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Good luck to you, sir.